Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. In this week's video, we're going to be using some marini as well as some other color applications to make a mid-sized vase for you. We've made some different marini vessels in the past, but this one's one of my favorite that we've ever done on the channel. So let's go ahead and get into the studio. We'll go ahead and get started. So my brother's going to go ahead and pick up some color out of this color oven. We've preheated this big chunk of purple to about 1,000 degrees. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to make a small little cup out of it. We've been making lots of work like this in the channel a lot lately. This is called encalmo, where basically I'm going to make a small little collar, a little ring of glass on the tip of my pipe right here with this clear glass I just got out of the furnace. We'll apply the color to the end of the pipe, and we'll end up making a little cup out of it, which we'll be able to apply back onto the piece a little bit later in the process. So I'm going to go ahead and blow a bubble through it. A little bubble's going to come out right there, and then I'll throw this back in the furnace so that that thin layer of glass will kind of melt away, and we'll have a ring of glass on the tip, which, like I said before, this is known as a collar. Glassblowing is all about the prep work. You know, it's all about how prepared you are and being ready for the next step. So, like I said, we're not going to use this cup until the end of the process, but we got to make it first so that we can have it ready to apply later in the process, because we're going to kind of have our hands full with the other pieces of glass that we're going to be making today. So now my brother's going to get the glass really hot, and then here in a second, we're going to try to just attach it right onto the tip of my collar. Then I'll be able to blow a bubble directly into the color.
Oh wait, where are my diamond shears? Thank you. Flip. Everybody thinks we're wrong. Oh, but who are they to judge?
So there we go. So now I'll get that glass even hotter, and then here in a moment, after I shape it very quickly, I'm going to blow through the pipe, and the air will shoot out of the tip, putting a bubble inside of my glass.
Go to the water boys, see if there's some screen printing that can be done. If I don't do that, we go home.
There we go. Put a bubble in it.
Keep designing.
Okay, so now we've got a small bubble inside of that mass of glass. I've shaped it up a little bit, and now we're going to add a layer of clear glass on top of it. So for anybody who doesn't know, this is our glass furnace. It houses all of our clear glass. It stays on 24/7 year-round, and it houses all of the clear glass, keeps it about 2,000 degrees, 24/7. So now that that glass is really hot, you can see I can move it a lot while the core stays nice and cold. So I have a small amount of time to manipulate that new layer of clear while the inside is really starting to heat up to that hotter kind of level, and our temperatures are starting to level out.
It's not a whole lot. On light.
So now that everything is a little bit more of an even heat, and we don't have a kind of cold core and a hot out exterior, I can get my brother to blow through the pipe, and I can use this newspaper tool to cool down the areas that I don't want to inflate. So the plan now is actually to cut off the tip of this glass so that I have another hole on the end of it, right? The cup that I'm going to make, we want to attach onto the lip of the vessel later in the process, so I want it to have an opening on each end. It needs to kind of be like a tube of glass. I know we call it a cup, but it's kind of like a tube in the end.
Off. I think it's been almost 3 weeks, something like that.
Nice. How's she liking it?
Alright, let's do it. Ready? Nice. Good to go. Good to go.
No, it won't.
Look at it. On. Off.
Has everybody been making pumpkins up here right now too?
Yeah, they're starting to.
Sea turtles. There. Wait, have you done turtles? Yeah.
You gonna paddle? Come on.
Okay, so now this is the basic shape of our cup. And I'm going to let it cool down just a little bit, and then we'll knock it off into that same color oven that we got the purple out of in the beginning. So it stays in here, it's nice and stable, it's not going to crack on us, and then we can move on to the rest of the process.
Ready?
So my brother has these big forks, and he's going to pick up our color pattern that we have on the ceramic plate. We've also preheated this in this annealer, which is about 900 degrees, so that it doesn't crack whenever we move it over to the bigger glory hole, the heater over here. So on this plate are what we call marinis, right? They're little discs of glass, and they can be different shapes. Some are squares and some are circles. And basically, they have our pattern on them. So we're going to start to heat them up, and then we'll start to squish them together so that they're a nice, flat, even plate. And then I can do the same thing I did earlier where I'll make a collar, and we'll roll it up onto the blowpipe so we have it as a cylinder wrapped around our collar.
Okay, let me resize this real quick. Little collar, itty bitty. All right, cool. Yo, let me hop in. All right, you're good. You can come over here. Coming out. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So now we have our pattern on the pipe, and what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try to line it up so that you can't really see the seam where the two parts connect. So we want it to be as flush around and kind of connect our pattern so everything seems really seamless.
Sweet.
Can I put a song on?
Sure you can.
Say, look at it.
Okay, so now everything's kind of tacked together. And from now on, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to minimize all the holes, because they're, it's not a perfect kind of pattern when it was on the plate. Even though we squished it together, it still has a lot of holes in between the different parts. So I'm going to get it really hot, roll it around, push it and pull it, and really try to minimize all the gaps and try to flatten out the outside. You see with this move, my brother's pushing down from the inside so that we can kind of flatten the outside surface. We really want to minimize any bumps or cracks or holes in it, because when we put it inside of the furnace to gather a new layer of clear glass on top of it, any part of it that's not smooth is going to pick up a bubble, and we don't want any bubbles in our final product.
Oh yeah, you can find it if it's low. Yeah.
It's like join the jam.
Yeah. Woo!
So it looks like that gather went really well, and this is the only gather that we're going to take on top of this, right? I want it to be a kind of mid-sized vessel, so we're not going to add any more glass. If I did want to make it bigger, all I have to do is just inflate it a little bit more and go back in and get another layer of glass, and we could do that as many times as we want. Right now, I just want to take that one gather, and we'll blow it up to the right size. I really like using this newspaper tool. It's probably one of my favorite tools. It's about 10 sheets of newspaper folded up and soaked in water. It's a really good way to get your hands as close to the glass as possible without touching it.
What was the one?
This big metal table right here is called a Murrine table, and it's also one of my favorite tools to use in the studio. It's very thick metal, so it really cools the glass down a lot, and it's fantastic for shaping it as well. So you can see I've really changed the shape of the glass in this move, and it's also cooled it down quite a bit.
Take some air. You can blow. Off. I need more heat. You can blow. Off. And run, boys, run. Devil's in the house of the rising sun.
So now we're going to do what's called putting in a jack line. The tool I have in my hand are called the jacks, and basically I'm going to roll back and forth and make a small incision right off the tip of my pipe. This area is going to get smaller and smaller the more that I squeeze, and the idea is that that area will want to break fastest once it cools down because it's so thin and so small. Later in the process, we're actually going to have to break this glass off of the pipe and transfer it to a new one. So I'm trying to basically establish a point where the glass will want to break without breaking the rest of my piece.
Okay. Tsunami? What's that one? Not the Rugrats.
Where they're on the pier in Huntington or whatever.
Oh, you mean rocket power?
Yeah, rocket power.
Yeah, yeah. Give me some light air, Luke. Off.
I saw a funny clip from there. Like the dad, like someone's like, "What's
Raimundo!"
And he's like, "What's in the fish tacos?" And he's like,
I'll take a paddle.
"You want me to paddle?"
Yeah, yeah. Let's go on lightly.
Whoa.
Go a little higher. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Do you own Surf's Up? Do you own the movie? No, it's on something. Oh, it's on YouTube.
Off.
It live streams on, or you can get the whole thing on YouTube.
There's so many movies on YouTube. Yep, and you can push. Alright, off. We will punty.
So now it's time for that transfer I talked about earlier. So my brother has a solid pipe right here, and he's going to get a little bit of glass on the end. This is what we call a punty. So basically he's going to shape this up into a nice little domed shape, and then we'll attach it to the bottom of our glass, and we'll be able to break it off of the blowpipe that I've been using and have it flipped over on this new punty.
Ready? Alright. Ready?
Alright, so that transfer went great. And now, all we have to do is open up the lip so that we can add that cup we made at the beginning of the process. So we sized up the cup, and now I just need to make sure that the lip of my vessel that we've gotten really hot right here is just the right size so we can attach that cup on.
You can stay on. Okay. Alright, I think you can pick up that cup. Other one. It's much thinner. You got it?
So now my brother has made another punty, and he's going to pick up that cup out of the preheated oven, and then we just got to work on getting our temperatures on the lips right so that we can fuse them together. So he's going to get that nice and hot, I'll get my piece nice and hot, and then he'll bring it over and we'll attach it onto the lip.
Flip. End up.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Probably a bunch of water on that.
Yeah, it's hot.
I want to lift up. I don't know. Pretty hard to.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that was great. And now all we have to do is open up that lip and finish making our vessel.
Off.
Straight scissors.
Yes, and we'll Sophie on the next one.
Yeah.
All right, you can go on. Yeah, blow. We'll do that again. Blow, 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 blow. Alright, off. Awesome. I think that's kind of the shape I'm going for. You got room?
Yeah, you might want to do that a little.
Alright, you can blow. Oh no. Alright, off. We're just gonna open it. We're just gonna open it.
Went in.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. You can go on. Alright, off. We'll do that once more. On. Alright, off. That's it. Get off of me. I'm gonna flash a good bit. Down to Georgia.
Okay, so now our piece is basically done, and all we have to do is detach it from the punty so that we can transport it into our annealer so it can cool overnight. So what I'm doing is I'm heating up that punty connection so that it's nice and hot. When I add water to it, which I'll do in just a second, it'll really want to break right there. So now we'll just add a few drops of water, and then in a moment I'll give the pipe a little tap, we'll knock it off into my brother's Kevlar gloves, and he can transport it to the annealer so that we can let it cool overnight.
I have to put it on the lip at the bottom, like, you know? One more. All right, ready? I'm gonna go up. I think so. Yeah, look at that. Sweet. Woo!
All right, that was awesome. I'm really happy with how this piece came out. The lines always look so cool with these marini patterns, and then the band of purple at the top, I really like it a lot. So I'm super happy with how this came out. And as usual, if you guys are interested in purchasing this piece, you can find links to it down below, either on Etsy or on my personal website. So thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Really hope you all enjoyed the video. Be safe out there, and we'll catch you in the next one.